G'day gents, in this video I'm going to show you how to draw a very simple house. I'm going to do it in stages, so we'll probably do a 4 or 5 part video from walls to windows to doors to how to group things and how to add things into your house, alright, as well as a roof. Very simply, I'm going to be working on SketchUp Online, much better in terms of the quality of print that you can get, and just it's nice to get used to SketchUp's new layout, and I like working with these tools on the side. There's just a little bit more we can do, and then we can access the warehouse, so we can get free windows, sliding doors, you name it, a whole bunch of furniture, some really cool things we can add to our house. So without further ado, let's continue. The first thing we want to do before we start to draw in SketchUp is to go to the model info, and we want to create the units. We want to get the right units for the drawing. So we want to go to 0.0 millimeters. We want to work in millimeters, not centimeters, feet and inches, all that. So it's millimeters. We're going to go to a whole number, and we're going to enable length snapping, and I'm going to have my length snapping to 1 millimeter. So every 1 mil, my cursor is recognizes to snap on various points, and you'll see how that works as we go on. Right, and what I like to do is have all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all the way down to model info. I like to have all those ready to go and use. So you'll see I've got these out and ready to go. Okay, so that's great. And what are we going to do immediately? To start this off, we want to create the floor plan. We want to get a basic floor plan structure. But before we do that, this is essentially the kind of floor plan I'm going to do. I'm not sticking to these measurements. It's just an idea. It's a concept. So I'm going to probably go 10 by 5, but use a similar layout in general. Okay. So in order to do that, I've done my model info, set my units. I'm going to go to scenes. I want the top view, and I want it in parallel projection. That's parallel. That's perspective. That is parallel projection. Okay. So hold my scroll button on the mouse and shift down, and I can move this over to the bottom corner, and I can start to work in this space. Now you'll see a set of green and red, and then if you flip it into a front view, you'll see a blue vertical axis. Whenever you're drawing, if your squares are perpendicular to the axis or your lines or whatever you're doing, they'll light up in the color that corresponds to that line in terms of its parallel positioning. Okay, so I'm going to do a house. So I'm going to start with a rectangle tool. I'm going to do a house of 10,000 by 5,000. Now if you look at the bottom right hand side of the screen, as I move my mouse, you'll see that the dimensions change. So I want to open up to a rectangle. I'm going to start with 10,000, comma 5,000. Right, enter, and it gives me that our external edge of the wall that I want. Right. So now that I've got the basic area, what I'm going to do is use this over here. It's called the offset command. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click in the middle, so I'm going to move this over a little bit so we get a nice focus essentially. I'm going to click on this, and you'll release, and you'll see that it moves, it copies that line and moves it in or out depending on where you want it. We're going to move it inward, and I'm going to do a wall of 200 millimeters thick. You'll see in the bottom right in measurements, I've typed in 200 millimeters. I'm going to press enter now. Great, done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those a group. Okay, so how do I do that? I'm going to take my cursor command. I'm going to triple click that. Then I'm going to right click it and go make group. Excellent. So it's made it a group. Now we want to go to a tag, and we want to add a tag, because that wall is going to become this tag. So this tag, I'm going to call it, in fact, let's cancel that for now. Let's explode this, because I don't want to make it a group as yet. And why? Because as you'll notice, I haven't done my internal walls. I want all my walls to be part of one tag. Okay, so sorry I jumped the gun on that. Now, to get this bathroom in the middle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get my measure tool, my guide. This is like drawing in construction lines, basically. I'm going to work from the outside wall. And I'm going to suggest that this room is going to be 3,500 millimeters, 3,500, which is 3.5. I'm going to do the same from the other end. So I'm going to go 3,500 from the other end. Right. And then from this external wall, I'm going to come down and make it, let's make it again 3,500 millimeters. So we have pretty much, not quite a square, but we've got a nice rectangle, a nice space for a bathroom. Okay. And what I'm going to go ahead and do here now is I'm just going to click on my draw command, and draw out the walls along my guides. Right. Then again, offset command, click in the middle, click in that space, and I'm going to bring it in. Now I'm going to go 100 because it's an internal wall. So the wall is going to be 100 millimeters in width. The other thing I need to do here, unfortunately, is just carry on with that there and carry on with that over there, because that needs to meet up with the external wall. I'm then going to go and just delete that line with my erase tool. I'm going to go and erase these two lines over there so that the wall is all one. Now what I can do is, first of all, I'd like to just quickly delete these guards. I don't know. As soon as I make that wall a group, it's going to grab onto those guards as well, and I don't want that. Right? So there's my internal wall. Now what I'm going to do here is go back to my cursor. I'm going to triple click, right click, make a group. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is go here and I'm going to call this tag walls. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to go to the 3 drop downs here. I'm going to say assign tag. If I hover over that, it should show you assign tag. Click on it and I'm going to assign it to that wall. Right, so what I should be able to do here is hide that wall now. There it is. Hide it, show it, and hide it. And what you're really left with would be whatever the concrete surface bed would be. So in order to work on that now, because what we need to do with this wall is extrude it up a certain height. Now, to do that, I'm going to double click on the cursor command. I'm going to use the toggle key on my mouse, hold it down, and I'm going to orbit. I'm going to orbit around my object, right? You can click on that if you need to, but it's just the middle, the toggle button on your mouse, and I'm going to hold shift and drag it down a little bit. Now, in order to edit these walls, what I'm going to do is get my mouse, my cursor, and I'm going to double click on them, and now you'll see it's activated those walls. I'm then going to go get the push-pull tool, right? And you'll see it lights up blue in dots, the wall, and I'm going to pull the wall up, and I want to give that wall a total height of 3,000 millimeters. I'm going to make it a 3,000 millimeter in height building, okay, to ceiling level essentially. So there's my basic layout of this house. Right, so those are walls done. Walls done, they are assigned a command. So that's the first part to creating a very simple house on SketchUp.